Hey guys, Pat here with Game On. Got my buddy Max. We are going to count down my top 10 list of the hardest arcade games of all time. So sit back, grab a drink, and let's get to it. All right, so before we get started, I just wanted to say that this list was made up of games that I played when I was growing up. Games that were played more than one time on original hardware, basically just what was available to me. So this is based on my memories as I was growing up. Not every game made this list that maybe you might have picked, and a lot of that reason is maybe I just didn't have access to that game. I may have had it on a compilation disc after the fact, or maybe on a handheld, or I downloaded the ROM and was playing it on a console with a D-pad. What I'm talking about here is the original game, the way it was meant to be played in the arcade. If a game that you thought should make the list did not make it, chances are I just did not have a chance or enough time to play it when I was younger. So please keep that in mind. I also want to give a few honorable mentions before we get started. These games just didn't make the cut, but were very close. That would be Mortal Kombat 2, Gauntlet, and Ghouls and Ghosts. All right, let's get started. So the first game is kind of a newer game, but it was one that stands out in my mind for how difficult it was, and that was because of the controls, and that was Star Wars Episode 1 Podracer. Now, a lot of people may disagree. They may think this game is amazing, and it does look amazing. The cabinet is amazing. You got these handles like from the movie that Anakin was racing, and there's a brake on one of them. You know, the sense of speed. But getting the hang of those controls, and it was not an inexpensive game to play. It was expensive, and then the learning curve after sitting there, you know, and popping in like a buck, you're all over the place. I could not control the pod, and it just cost too much, and it was too difficult that I never got the hang of it. In the number 9 spot, I'm putting Donkey Kong. Now, I love me some Donkey Kong. Anybody that's seen The King of Kong, they explain why the game is so difficult. I can count on one hand how many times I've gotten probably to the third screen. I mean, it's just a very hard, very, very hard game. The people that master that game, hats off. All right, number 8 is Spy Hunter. Spy Hunter is an awesome game. The sounds, you know, that music, but it just seems like you're always going forward, you're shooting, and then you're speeding up and running into the back of somebody and you're dead. And then you do it all over again. You build up some speed and then you get hit. I don't think I ever made it to the boat, but just a few times. The game is just so cool, and I want to like it, but I just cannot play that game. All right, the next one is Paperboy. Now, Paperboy, you got the bicycle handlebars, but it's that kind of isometric view that just messes with me. You know, you're throwing papers, and I end up just, for some reason, I throw like almost all my papers on like the first 2 or 3 houses, because I'm just like, and once I get out into the open street and cars are coming by, I look like just a freaking weirdo just trying to control that bike. It's a fun game to play, but it's not one that I've ever been good at. All right, the next one is also a game that a lot of people might find to be easy, but to me it's the controls again that make this one hard, and that's Qbert. It seems like, you know, you want to go down. You're wanting to go kind of down, left, right, but when you're always on that edge and you mean to go down and then you go left, you're jumping completely off of your pyramid or whatever that is, and it's just so frustrating, and that's why Qbert's always cursing, because it's a frustrating game. It just seems like there's not a lot of room on that pyramid to move, and your moves are got to be very, very precise, and I just always found that game to be insanely difficult. The next one on the list is probably on a lot of people's lists, and that's Dragon's Lair. Again, another game that is incredibly beautiful to look at. It's more fun to watch someone play that knows what they're doing. I remember, kind of like in Stranger Things, just crouched over when you would find someone that did know how to play this game. You're just so distracted by these amazing visuals, by the Don Bluth animation, that, you know, the little flashes and things, you know, it was just too much. I couldn't play the game. I don't even think I ever got far at all. I would prefer to watch someone play that game. But again, that game has got a very important place in video game history, but it's also one of the harder games that's ever been out there. Next one on the list, I love playing it, but just so hard.
That's what she said.
Is Zaxxon. And again, it's that isometric view, so you pretty much have to watch the height level, that there's a gauge, because you're trying to avoid the electric fences or whatever those are. You're just flying at these angles, and it's just kind of hard to tell because of the perspective where you're actually at amongst the other things that are on the playfield. Very, very difficult game. Again, this one, to this day, I suck ass, and that's Defender. Defender is so hard. I did know people back when I was a kid that were good at this game, but I was never good at it, and I just tried to play it recently, and I cannot do this game. It's so difficult. And once your people get captured and get converted to an alien, basically they're just chasing you, and there's always bullets flying everywhere. Anybody that can play that game and get, you know, 30, 40,000, mad respect, because that is a hard game. All right, number 2 is Asteroids Deluxe. Now, for some reason, Atari thought that the first Asteroids was too easy, I guess. So they just decided to make this one so hard that it's almost unplayable, in my opinion. It's got a really cool look to it. It's like this, almost like this reflection, and there's always this space background. Very cool with the vector graphics, but the game is just insanely. They added some new enemies that make the game just so frustrating. This one, definitely number 2. Alright guys, and number 1, probably no surprise, is Sinistar. I still, to this day, I can't play that game. It starts off not too hard, but once that star face starts talking and taunting you, you hear those voices.
I am Sinistar.
What was that? Did you hear that? I mean, those creepy digitized voices.
Beware, I live.
Zoink, Scoob!
I hunger.
Yeah, I would get anxiety. The thought of knowing that thing, you know, was taunting me.
I hunger, coward.
Did you hear that? Like, let's get out of here, Scoob.
Run, coward. Run.
Alright guys, that's my list. There's some games that obviously other people probably would have on their list, but I just did not have them in an arcade near me. Some of those would be like Mappy, Super Smash TV. You know, I had arcades always when I was a kid and throughout my teens, but for some reason those games just weren't there. I don't know if it was a regional thing, no clue, but sorry that some of those didn't make the list. This was my list. But let me know in the comment section what you think your hardest arcade games would be. Make sure you like the video. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing and hit the bell so you know when I upload some new content. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Game on!
Yeah, game on!